Senator Hirano.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Patel, just like the rest of the federal government, there have been significant personnel changes at the FBI since President Trump took office. I want to better understand the scope of the turnover and the changes occurring at the FBI. Since January 2025, how many FBI employees have retired, resigned, been fired, or otherwise separated from employment? I need a number.
We'll get you a number.
What is the number? You don't have it?
Not off the top of my head, and I want to get you the right number.
Would it surprise you to know that it's probably in the thousands, like 5,000?
I don't think that number's
Well,
accurate.
You don't know. Next question. How many special agents or analysts have left or been fired from the FBI since January 20th, 2025?
Say, we will get you the numbers, and anyone that retires is of their own volition, and anyone that is terminated at the FBI, as I've said before, is done so because they have failed to meet the standards and uphold their loyalty and oath to the Constitution.
Yeah, so you say. Next question. How many executive assistant directors, or special agents in charge have left or been fired from the FBI since January 20th, 2025?
Again, people leaving on their own accord or terminations were done by the standards set at the FBI that have been carried out
With this question, I'm getting
consistently.
to the leadership of the FBI, and you don't have that answer.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Okay, so this is a pretty good segment. This one's pretty juicy. You know, Kash Patel, after watching his performance in this hearing, and I'm like, man, this is the right dude for the job because he doesn't take any BS from anybody. He outright exposes the political theater that is this committee hearing, or at least coming from the Democrats on this, and I love that. She says, would it surprise you to know that it's probably in the thousands, like 5,000? Like, come on, if you don't have a number, now you're just speculating, Senator. Like, what are we doing here? This is all political theater, folks, and I love every single freaking minute of it. But this is a pretty good one. Kash Patel absolutely puts her in her place, and it's lovely to watch. But y'all smash that like button for me. Subscribe if you're new around here and you want to stay up to date with news and politics. Share this video anywhere and everywhere you can and click that join button. Sign up, become a member. You know you want to. But without any further ado, let's get it, y'all.
Next question. Which field office, division, or directorate has lost the most personnel since January 2025? And, do you have the answer to that question?
Yeah, actually, every single field office in the country, including Hawaii, has received a plus-up of FBI agents because we're pushing them out to the field.
Okay, so you're telling me that no field office, division, or directorate has lost any personnel since January 20th, 2025? That's your answer?
In Hawaii, there's been a plus-up. In every single state that I'm looking at, we have allocated a plus-up for field offices across the country so that the FBI can continuing the historic achievements it's done in these last 7 months. When you're talking about firings, you're looking for a media hit and a fundraising clip, and I'm not going to give it to you.
It doesn't matter under what basis they left. I just want to know how many have left. And I think your testimony is nobody has left. Next question.
Nope, that's not my testimony. You asked it one time. I answered it one time. You didn't get the answer you wanted for your clips. So you keep
question.
asking it, and I told you I'd get you the numbers, but you can keep asking it.
Which field office, division, or directorate has gained the most personnel since January 2025? You noted that there have been plus-ups, so which offices have received these plus-ups?
The greatest allocation that I believe was given to California and then Florida.
Where were those offices?
California and Florida.
Thank you. Director Patel, you often refer to FBI agents as cops. All of us, Democrats and Republicans, support the police officers who keep our communities safe. But while our states, cities, counties, and towns all employ police officers to protect our communities, Congress has empowered and equipped the FBI to take on missions that local police cannot, especially taking on terrorists, hackers, and spies. I'd like to assess how well the FBI is able to handle its specialized missions under your leadership. The FBI is the nation's lead federal law enforcement agency for investigating and preventing acts of domestic and international terrorism. And yet the executive assistant directors in charge of the FBI's national security and intelligence branches were both forced out at the beginning of the year. Who replaced them in those positions?
Excellent qualified personnel to lead the mission of arresting 23,000 violent criminals this year alone.
What are
That's
the
twice
names
as many
of the
as
people
before.
who took the places of
I'm not
the-
going to give you any names so you can attack them.
Why not?
So you can attack them. I'm not doing that. The
You're not
people
gonna
sitting
give
in
me the
those seats
names
are
of-
extremely qualified to handle the job.
You're
We
not
would
gonna
not
give
have
me
the
the names
results.
of
We would-
personnel who
We would
should
not
be
have the
on your-
reduction
Right,
of
fine,
violence in the
moving
state
on.
of Hawaii if we did not allocate the
Earlier
resources we
this
did.
year, FBI counterterrorist special agents and investigators were reassigned to assist with immigration enforcement. Reportedly, these counterterrorism experts were returned to the jobs they trained for in late January after Iran threatened to retaliate for our strikes on their nuclear facilities. Have those experts remained in the jobs they trained for since that time? Yes or no?
FBI agents' primary responsibility is exactly what they are assigned to do. We always work with our
So since they
interagency
returned
part.
to their positions,
If you're not
are
going to
they
let me
still in
answer,
those
why don't you
positions?
just do your soliloquy in the 4.5 minutes you have
I
left?
am not asking for a soliloquy. It's just a yes or no. Are those people who were returned to their jobs still on those jobs? Yes or
They
no?
never left.
What was that?
They never left their primary job. It is a surge of resources in law enforcement working with the interagency to combat violent crime and reduce
They were
violent
never-
crime in
okay, they were never
historic
reassigned to do
proportions.
That's your testimony. Okay, Director Patel, the FBI is also the lead federal agency for investigating cyber attacks and
Yes.
cyber intrusions, both by foreign nation states and by non-state hacker groups. Since President Trump's inauguration, the executive assistant director in charge of the criminal and cyber branch and the head of the FBI's cyber division have both left the FBI. What are the names of the people who replace them in those positions?
The cyber branch is one of the most impressive at the FBI. 409 arrests this year, 169 convictions. That's a 42% increase from the same time last year.
It's that
So
branch,
any
Mr.
suggestion that
Patel.
the FBI cyber division is not operating at full capacity and better than ever before, the leadership at the branch is implementing these changes necessary to attack the cyber and ransomware infrastructure operators
You
for
know
Iran,
why
China,
they're
and
important? I
Russia.
want to know who has those positions, since the people who originally were there,
Supremely
are no longer
qualified
there.
individuals have those positions.
are they?
Supremely qualified
Who
individuals.
are they? What are the names?
You're not
You
getting
don't
them.
know. Special agents who investigate cybercrime were also reassigned for immigration enforcement. Have those expert investigators returned to their duties? Yes or no?
All agents remained on their primary duties while surging to allocate resources for interagency operations to the Homeland Security task forces across this country.
So are you,
Am I what?
see, I'm not getting the yes or no answers. I get all this explanation. So there you go.
No, you get the work that
Are
the men
you
and women of the
planning
FBI are doing. And you
Any
don't want that.
additional personnel cuts to the cyber division in the future?
The only people that will be terminated at the FBI will be those that violate their oath of office or fail to meet the high standards at the FBI.
Director Patel, the FBI is meant to be the tip of the spear in combating terrorism against the United States from both foreign and domestic sources. It's also our lead agency in fighting the hackers who target our businesses and critical infrastructure. But instead of a specialized role fighting these kinds of terrorists, hackers, and spies, you have the FBI playing the role of local police and helping with immigration enforcement. I'm going to move on to my, you've been asked some questions about changes to your hiring standard, and including college degrees and possibly the age. But, one question I had is, that you are now requiring applicants to be able to do a certain kind of pull-ups, which a lot of women cannot because of physiological differences. Are you requiring these kinds of pull-ups?
We are requiring a physical program at BFTC at Quantico because FBI agents carrying guns in the field have to chase down bad guys and do really hard work. The physical fitness standards of those agents
So are
being
you requiring
appropriately
these
assessed.
kinds of pull-ups?
We are requiring everybody to pass the 1811 standards at BFTC. If you want to chase down a bad guy
Excuse me,
and put
the
him in
reason I
handcuffs, you
ask-
better be able to do a pull-up.
The reason I ask is that there are concerns about whether or not being able to do these kinds of harsh pull-ups is really required of FBI agents.
Doing one
Anyway,
pull-up
Mr.
is not
Patel,
harsh,
I
and there are
am
always
gravely
medical
concerned.
exemptions to that.
I am gravely concerned by the state of the FBI under your control. And in fact, you are willing to take a cut in your agency of almost $500 million. So the FBI is losing dedicated employees, decades of expertise and specialization, leading to loss to early retirements, firings, and reassignments to immigration enforcement or conducting local police work. Thousands have already left. For as long as you remain as the head of the FBI, I fear the number of departures and summary firings will continue to grow. Mr. Patel, before the vote on your nomination of this committee, I noted that your most significant qualification, this is not just something that I noted, but others, your most significant
Actually gets this place going.
qualification was your 100% loyalty to President Trump. And I fear that that continues to be the motivating factor in your position as FBI Director. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mayor, Mr. Chairman.
Director Patel, did you?
Yes.
anything you wanted to say now?
That is an entire falsehood. You can delete my 16 years of government service to multiple administrations all you want. The fact is that I was a public defender. I was a national security prosecutor. I was a House intelligence staffer. I was a deputy director of intelligence. I was a chief of staff to the Department of Defense and the Secretary of Defense. I led the counterterrorism missions for the White House. Those are just some of the jobs I held in my 16-year career. There was no loyalty then. There's no loyalty now to anything but the Constitution.
Senator Brett.
Yes,
Okay, so that was just absolutely brutal, if you ask me. Now, yeah, you might have a difference of opinion on that, but let me break it down for you. You know how this is political theater by two reasons right here. For one, all those people she was asking about, oh, you took career experienced agents and you replaced them with these people. Who are they? She could easily find that information out, especially her, right? Like, it might not be so easy for us to go and get this information, but she could easily get this information before the hearing, whenever she wanted to. She could ask for it in confidence from him himself in writing, and he would most likely give that information out. She could go to anybody in the department, probably. I'm just saying, it's a sitting senator with security clearance, for crying out loud. She could get that information easily. She wanted a viral moment. She wanted names so they could go and try to smear these people and call them conspiracy theorists or whatever the hell they want to do. And number two, they quickly forget all of their ideology when they're trying to get a viral moment, to get a clip to post on social media. Oh, these harsh pull-ups. Oh, and women. Oh, surprise, surprise. Women can't do pull-ups according to Senator Hirano. According to Senator Hirano, women can't do pull-ups, or they're harsh, for crying out loud. I've never heard so much nonsense in my freaking life. It's fascinating, folks, to watch these people go in. Like, he was just hitting her back with stats and facts and all this other stuff. It was great, folks. And this hearing has a lot more to come, as a matter of fact. And we're going to get into all that. We're going to go over this entire hearing, or at least the rest of it, because to be honest with you, the first part of this hearing was kind of utter nonsense, right? But she's all worried about, taking agents and having them do immigration enforcement. Oh, they're engaging in why are you taking career agents away from blah, 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 blah. Like, hang on, lady. Like, see, this is what Democrats do. They don't think about things. Like, first, that's an unsubstantiated report from the corporate press. This is where Democrats solely get their information from, for the most part, right? Like, sure, they do come with facts. They'll go get stats for government stats or whatever and blah, 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 blah. Like, we're not going to argue over stats for the most part because stats are stats. It is what it is. But they get these unsubstantiated reports, and she wants to come in and try to say, "Oh, well, you're shunting agents over here to this agency so they can do immigration enforcement." Well, hang on, Senator. Do you not think that some of the people that are in the country are terrorists, for one? Hey, isn't the FBI tasked with counterterrorism? Yes, we had, under the Biden administration, at least 400 known or suspected terrorists come across that southern border. Now, of the 2 to 5 million gotaways, how many of those were known or suspected terrorists that came into this country? That is a question. Yes, the FBI should be embedded with ICE going around all these places to catch some of these terrorists, right? I have no problem with this whatsoever. But what they're doing here is they're getting these unsubstantiated reports from the corporate press from some anonymous source, right? Once again, unsubstantiated anonymous sources. Like, are we really going to go with that as if it's the gospel, for crying out loud, as if that is fact? This is what they do, folks, all to get a viral clip, all to get some viral moment so they can, once again, post it on their social media platforms and say, look, I got Director Kash Patel. The Trump administration is fascist. So somebody will get radicalized and try to take out Kash Patel. This is what they do, folks. And, you know, social media is not helping these matters at all. It's not. But getting back to that, like these immigrants, or quote unquote immigrants, I call them criminal aliens for the most part, because they're not immigrants, folks. An immigrant is somebody that comes to this country and wants to melt into the pod, get a job, you know, and become a citizen, for crying out loud. These people, Tren de Aragua, they don't want to come into the country and get a job and melt into the pod and become a citizen. No, they just want to come in and conduct their gang activity. They want to terrorize Americans. So the FBI is tasked with counterterrorism. Seems like a good fit, if you ask me, right? But they don't think about these things because they're so entrenched in their own BS and theater that they can't see logic. This is why Democrats are losing badly right now, right? And all of this both sides-ism nonsense is only making them look much, much worse, folks. It's really looking bad for Democrats at this point. I saw a video earlier where we're getting all these reports all across the country, folks, in every single state of 200, 400, 600% increase in GOP registered voters, new ones. That's massive, y'all. Massive. So the GOP is winning right now, and for good reason, folks. They're the only party. I mean, we've got a leader, for one, pretty damn good leader, if you ask me, but we've got several on deck. Several leaders that could just come in and take that spot if needed. You know, J.D. Vance being one of those. Easily. But, you know, there's several out there. I like Chip Roy myself, but I don't think he could lead the party. But I think he's a good congressman, to be honest with you. You got Byron Donalds. That's another one. Could come right in instantly, take over for Donald Trump, and keep the MAGA movement going. There's several out there, but we're not going to get into all that. But, you know, these people, I just don't get where they're coming from. You know, they're all about this social justice, and they're all about compassion, but yet they cheer for death. Right? Like that senator, there was no condemnation of political violence from most of those senators. You got it from some, but not from most. That's fascinating, if you ask me. Right? I saw an outpouring of people talking about when Biden, when it was announced he had cancer, a really, really bad form of cancer, as a matter of fact, and saying, look, we don't wish any sort of ill health on anybody, right? Even me, look, I would rail against Biden day after day after day after day on this channel because of all of the nonsense he was conducting. He was engaging in corruption, for crying out loud. Violating the Constitution, violating the First Amendment, trying to violate the Second Amendment. It just went on and on and on and on. And when I heard that, I'm like, that sucks. Because why? I care about people, and I know that feeling, right? My grandparents both died of cancer, right? Both of them died of cancer. And it's a harsh death, folks. It's not nice. It is not nice at all, and I don't wish that upon anybody. All right, sure, you'll get these people out there railing against, heartless Republicans. They're laughing at Paul Pelosi. Well, he didn't die, for one, and two, are those people Republicans? Are those people conservatives? You don't see conservatives engaging in that type of disgusting behavior. And this is the whole both sides thing. They lump conservatives in with the far right. Those are two totally different things. They're very different. Sure, they're on the same side, but only as a consequence, folks. We're not aligned in most places. Not with any of these racist, far-right extremist people, right? We're not aligned. We're as aligned with the far right as we are with the far left. We're got about the same amount of alignment with both sides here. Why? Because most conservatives are in the center. Absolutely. Democrats are not. They want you to buy into delusions. They want you to buy into this nonsense. They want you to buy into things that are not real. They want you to forget logic, forget what your eyes see. They want you to sit down and shut up and not say anything. And then when you do that, they try to claim silence is violence, folks. And it's all nonsense. So you can't win for losing at all. And it's ridiculous with these people. But I think I've rambled on for long enough, y'all. Y'all let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comment section. Don't forget to smash that like button for me if you don't mind. I would appreciate that. Subscribe if you're new around here. I'd love to have you on board. We go over news and politics. We analyze the news and figure out how we're being manipulated in that news because, folks, spoiler, we're being manipulated heavily by the corporate press and all of their deluge, if you will, of manipulations. News articles, all of that nonsense. It's all ridiculous, but y'all share this video anywhere and everywhere you can. And if you could, it's a major help. Click that join button, sign up, and become a member. Help this movement grow and expand, especially in a time when we need to be united, folks. We need to unite together and push back against all this utter nonsense coming from the far left, y'all. Not all. The far left, most far leftists, I'll put it that way. Not your regular run-of-the-mill Democrat, not your regular just left-leaning individual, because we align in most places with those people. But, let Democrats tell it, and it couldn't be further from the truth, according to them. But anyway, y'all do all that for me, and you guys out there, y'all remember that God is always with us, and He loves each and every one of you out there. So y'all remember all that. Y'all try to have a good day and stay legitical. Peace.